Hello friends and welcome to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers. Today, taking a look at the Super Zeo Megazord, which was, I've been kind of going back and forth with myself on wanting to track this thing down for a while, and got to do it. Happy I did, because this thing is quite neat. So you got the 5 individual Zords as per usual. And what was interesting about the Super Zeo Zord is the idea that it's like everything's... I mean, as I understand it, Zeo in general kind of focused on like shapes, which is a little weird, but yeah, you've got these individual Zords with like specific shapes associated with them, like a square, circle, triangle, star, and then this. And yeah, I mean, it's a neat look. I actually really like how they kind of put this together, and the fact that none of the individual Zords actually look like they're just like a remolded version of any of the others. They all look unique in terms of their shape, and I mean like the actual shape of the robot, not just the shapes that are associated with them. Some are cool, some not, but yeah, overall I think they do look pretty neat. And because they've got that gray and silver thing going across the board, it really helps tie them together on top of like their individual primary colors. Like you've got the lighter gray bodies with like the silver around the chest for every single one of them. And it works really well. So, starting with green, I do enjoy how bulky this guy is. It makes his head look super tiny by comparison, but I don't know, I like the giant blockiness of this guy. And also there's a fair bit of really nice, just molded detail in there. He's just like this chunky brute looking guy, and I dig it. A little gappy in the back of the legs there, but eh. And the head doesn't necessarily scream square to me. I mean, it's boxy-ish, but I guess the visor, or whatever you want to call it, does have... It's not really a square, it's a rectangle, but still, it's kind of ties in with the theme. Yeah, I don't know, I like this guy. I like it's a nice shade of metallic green that they got on the chest there too. And one thing I want to say with all of these, I got them off eBay. They're in remarkably good condition, but there are some paint scuffs here and there, and also a couple of them I had some issues with stickers, which I'll get into when I get to them, but yeah. Like, the person I got this from, all the stickers were there, but some of them were actually put on wrong, and I don't know if it was them or the person that may have had it before them, but yeah, so I had to kind of peel back and reapply some of the decals. That's fine. Just yeah, just if you see any stickers missing or any stickers in the wrong place, that's why. So moving on to yellow. Yellow's shape is probably the weirdest to me. It seems the most out of left field. But, I mean, it works. And, you know, it's a not badly proportioned little robot. And, of course, you got the visor that ties in with the equal sign shape. I don't know. And also the giant combined mode head on the back there. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not bad looking. Definitely not my favorite, but you know, it works. Yeah, it works. The legs are a little bit on the stocky side, like it kind of like you just have a tiny bit of leg there, and then lots and lots of shin. But you know, they're Megazords. What can you expect? Now for red. This I was actually really impressed with. The head for red is in a lot better shape than I could have possibly hoped for. Like, this thing always seems to get beaten up in older versions of the toy, and like there's a little bit of wear on the top there, but other than that, it's actually in really good shape. And yeah, the the head has the star visor, but like the pointed head itself also kind of reiterates that. And also you've got like the same issue with yellow, where you've got like the really tiny thighs and knees are really high up on the leg. Also, the arms are kind of angled strangely, which is for the transformation, but still, it's just kind of like, eh. But I'm just nitpicking. I mean, it's cool overall. And again, nice molded detail. Really like the silver metallic red they got there. That's a really nice shade of metallic red. And another thing I thought was really neat was just like how not only are the overall silhouettes of the different Zords different, but each piece is different. Like, the legs or arms of one look nothing like the legs or arms of the other. Like, they're all just unique. And I totally dig that. Now, on to the weakest. There is Blue, and Blue is just kind of like there. The proportions are weird. He's got this massive chest, these dinky little arms. Super, super long legs with teeny tiny thighs. This is like the worst of all of them in that regard. A little bit of paint around the chest there. I mean, you know, for what he is, I'm not entirely sure what else they could have done, but he's definitely the weakest. Got a nice head, though. And yeah, there's some molded detail around, but he's really kind of not much going on in back, mostly because of the way he transforms, but yeah, this is just not the strongest. And now to Pink, which is actually my favorite out of all of them. I really like the proportions of this Zord, and also I like the cylindrical shoulders and arms there. It looks really nice to me. Like, I think this one has the best overall proportions out of all of them. And it's just, I like this sort of circular aesthetic that they've got going on throughout the entire figure, where you've got like the arms, the chest, the knees, the feet are semicircular. The head, of course, which has that nice paint job and oval visor. Now this one is one that I had issues with the stickers, where they were seemingly applied wrong, and this is supposed to come up, but somewhere along the lines it was ripped. So when I peeled this one off to repurpose it, I actually put the ripped part in back. Probably should have done the same with this, but yeah, that's the downside. But hey, considering the condition these things are in, not great stickers is really hardly much to complain about. So yeah, Pink is definitely my favorite. I really do like the overall shape of this one. Now, one thing before going into the combined mode that I want to say is, as with a lot of people, things that bug me with Transformers and Power Rangers, Sentai toys, whatever, sometimes is the fact that you get accessories that just kind of sit off to the side unless they're in combined mode. And sometimes you get accessories that sit off to the side when they're in combined mode. So, the swords for the Super Zeo Megazord are kind of in that category, where it's like you got these big swords that are, you know, very, very big, and don't know what to do with them. I figured out a way to sort of kind of store them, but first just going to take a look at them. Nice molding. Incredibly poor with the paint, because there is none. It's just this mustard colored plastic. But I do like that they got the different shapes of the Rangers and Zords like molded in there. That's a nice touch. Anyway, for storing these things, I'm gonna go with Blue here, because he looks awkward enough. Why not make him look a little more awkward? So what I found out is there are these grooves that the arms are supposed to sit in on his back here that are just the right width for the handles of the swords to plug in. So you can just take the sword and wedge it in there, so you can see, and that sticks in his back. And you can do it either way. So if you want to have the blades kind of facing out, if you want them facing in, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really work the other way because the blades are so long. But yeah. So that is a way for you to store the swords in the individual Zord modes. It's not super great looking. I mean, it has kind of like a, you know, war banner thing going there, but it's a way to keep them with the Zords. It's something. Not the best, but as far as I know, there's no other way to get those swords out of the way and like keep them with everybody else when they're in their individual Zord modes. But anyway, now that that's done, let's move on to the combine mode. Yep, before I do the combine mode, almost forgot again, but size comparisons. So, Samus and a Titan's Return Deluxe. So you can see the individual Zords are not a bad size. They're all taller than a Titan's Return Deluxe. So, not bad. Okay, now we're going to transform these. Here we have the Super Zeo Megazord all combined up, and I really like how this thing looks. It's this weird mishmash of shapes that just kind of come together really well. Like the circles for the pink are a little lost with the feet, but then you've got these little toe bits that show. You've got still the impression of the square there, upside down triangle there, star, and then the two ovals. It looks really nice, and also has a really nice distribution of the primary ranger colors. Like, instead of it being like, this arm is green, this torso is red, this leg is yellow, this leg is blue, like all that stuff, it's much nice. Like, I really like the layered effect. How you've got pink, green, blue, red, yellow, just straight up. And granted, I'm not an encyclopedia of Sentai or Power Rangers knowledge, but I'm not familiar with any other Megazords that have that particular kind of layout, where it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like just in vertical layers. Like, usually it'll be like, you know, a center thing and then like attached to arms, or you've got the center thing with like leg, arm, or something like that. And this is just, I really like how this ends up. And the way that some of the shapes kind of connect to each other is great too, especially in the upper body here. How this triangle nestles right underneath the star, and these oval shapes kind of sit right on the tops of the star there. I don't know, it's a nifty design. I'm into it. And because you've got that silver on the front, you've got lots of really nice silver on this figure, where it's just like silver on the legs here, on the pelvis area, and the chest, torso, and the shoulders. Looks really nice. So yeah, I am definitely a fan. I'm gonna bring him in. Let's look at the head here. And the head is not bad looking. I mean, it's not full of features. Like, there are some molded details that you don't really see, but it's, you know, sort of like the face is sort of like generic robot Megazord, whatever, but the shape of the head, that like slightly conical shape, and the crest do kind of set it apart a little bit, at least. And some nice paint too. I like the silver with the red. One thing I will mention, though, is I know I'm missing a sticker, like a gold sticker that's supposed to go around the outside here. I don't know. I haven't been able to find any places that do reproduction labels for the Super Zeo Megazord, so I can't really fix that right now. But all things considered, I think that's not a huge issue. I also think it's kind of neat how when you look at this thing in the grand scheme of things, like, it's just, the torso especially, there's this really interesting kind of thing going on with, like, just points, where it's like this is pointing up, which is pointing up, which kind of continues, but then it can also kind of point down too with the crest here. It's like, it kind of leads your eye in interesting ways. I also actually really like how this Megazord has a pretty cool looking back. Like, the way everything transforms up, it hides most of the robot bits pretty well, and you end up with this back section that's just like this interesting assortment of, like, almost like pipes and machinery, but it works really well. And it just, I don't know, I like how these kind of lines, like some of the arms kind of form, like they connect with other parts to kind of make it all look cohesive. And then because of the stickers, because you've got like pink, green, blue, red, yellow, like you still kind of see a little bit of those Ranger colors coming through even from the back. You know, call me weird, but I like the back of this guy too. And I also really like how these arms plug into the, they don't snap in, but I like how they plug into the feet, how yellow connects to red there, because it kind of just makes for some interesting visual detail, like these pipes kind of coming off the shoulders and connecting into the back. Looks neat. So, that's the Super Zeo Megazord. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like it's possible this is either a really, really good, like, this is either an old figure in really good shape, or, like, it almost makes me think it could be a knockoff, just because it seems to be in too good a shape, and the ratchets on these shoulders don't feel quite right. Like, they're not bad. They certainly work, but they almost feel too stiff. I don't know. It's probably all in my head, but if it is a knockoff, I can't really complain because it's really good. So yeah, anyway, Super Zeo Megazord, it's really neat, and I'm glad I got my hands on it. Oh, but I almost forgot to do a size comparison because it's me, and of course I did. So there's Samus, and there is a Titan's Return Deluxe. So yeah, I mean, it's a Megazord. It gets big. Not a surprise. Although I will say, the Super Zeo Megazord is actually the... it might actually... I'll have to double check with Shinkano. But I'm pretty sure the Super Zeo Megazord is the tallest base Megazord, like basic, just starter, beginning of the season, whatever Megazord that I have. Because it's certainly taller than Jewel King. Yeah, he's on my shelf. He's towards the back because he does kind of stand out. So he's not small. Not enormous, but he's not small. Anyway, that has been my look at the Super Zeo Megazord. This thing is really cool, and I'm really glad I was able to get it for such a good price. Regardless of whether or not it's a legitimate one or not. I don't think they actually do knockoffs of these, as far as I know, but whatever. Anyway, totally worth tracking down if you're into this stuff. Like, I really dig the aesthetic, and the fact that it's, like I said, that whole layered combination is really neat. So anyway, thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.